This video is sponsored by me. Read my books, Above Heaven and Dance of Frozen Death. Links in the description. Greetings, fellow mortals. When I make a video, I tend to have a pretty set opinion on something. There are some aspects that I'm willing to bend on, other perspectives that I'm willing to acknowledge, and sometimes I just get facts wrong. But there really hasn't been a case where I make a video and later decide that I was completely wrong about something. Until recently with my Bojack Horsman video. Part of me had been reluctant to voice my thoughts on the matter because I knew that I was in the vast minority in my opinion. I was worried that I'd be raked over the coals for my point of view. But the exact opposite happened. The door was opened, revealing a bunch of people willing to have a conversation about my thoughts on Bojack Horsman. I've got to give it to that specific fan base. They're probably the most reasonable bunch I've run into on the internet. They argued my own points back at me to perfection. And it made me realize something. Nothing about Bojack Horsman is poorly written. It is in fact written to perfection. It's not misery porn, this just isn't for me. Sorry, not sorry. While my opinions can be changed, my personal tastes cannot be. You could argue that I don't have good taste, but that is a totally different conversation.
It's a bit nutty.
I prefer pure tragedies or characters overcoming their flaws and adversity. When a story ends, I want there to be a big bow on top. I want the tale to show me that a significant part of the characters' lives is completed. Nothing will ever be the same again. Bojack Horsman is not that. We're just following specific sections of these people's lives. There isn't grand closure. Life goes on, and I get that. It's not what I wanted from a story, and I get what the writers were going for in this instance and why the fans like it. I always advocate for people being aware of flaws in the things that they like. It's one of the reasons one of my favorite videos that I have made was when I criticized the plane crash in Breaking Bad. Man, people got so angry at me for that one, but I still stand by my claim that the plane crash was dumb, unnecessary, and possibly the worst part of Breaking Bad as a whole. It just doesn't work on many different levels. It's the one thing in that series that I thought failed at what it was trying to attempt. And I get that it was symbolism, but I thought it was bad symbolism. If you know anything about this channel, I love Better Call Saul. So this was a level of self-awareness that I wanted to reach.
But I cry because others are stupid and it makes me sad.
On the other hand, just because I don't like something doesn't make it poor quality. You know what type of games I struggle with? Roguelikes. I hate having to restart every single time. It's just not my cup of tea. And I can admit that Hades and Returnal are amazing pieces of art. The same thing could be said for Bojack Horseman. Just because I don't like where it went doesn't mean that I can't appreciate the work that went into it. In fact, my viewpoint could be my own fault. Small spoilers for the season 3 finale of Bojack Horseman, by the way. I don't know how you got this far into the video without knowing all this, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on the car scene. I'm not going to lie, the scene where Bojack is in his car about to end his own life is one of the most meaningful things I can remember in fiction. After Sarah Lynn died and he pulled over at the last possible moment to watch the horses run, I shattered. I still remember sitting and staring off into space after watching that specific scene. I felt so sad and happy at the same time. 2016 was a hard year for me. I was still trying to conform to what other people wanted my life to be, and I was miserable. That was also the year where I realized that I was a nihilist and I was not dealing with it well. That season and scene from Bojack Horseman meant the world to me. It made me feel like I wasn't alone, that there's hope out there. It's when I felt empowered to accept that I have to do what I want to be happy in my life, and that existence isn't meaningless because we choose to give it meaning, and that's beautiful to me. That scene represents a big turning point in my life. But that scene and my association with it might also be why I don't like the next 3 seasons of the show. That swell of emotions into a huge climax felt like a turning point for Bojack, and I wanted it to be because it was for me personally. After I saw that, I started working on myself, physically, mentally, spiritually, and that growth helped me reach enough of my potential as a person by the time I met my wife to be ready for our relationship. It was a positive upswing in my life, and that's what I wanted Bojack the character to do, but that's not who he is, and that's not what the show is. I spent too much time building my expectations and forcing what I wanted for the show, so my distastes on how the seasons developed and ended are on me. I will admit that. Even being aware of that, I just can't change how I feel. I probably won't ever like the ending of Bojack Horseman. I love the swell of the emotions, the grand fireworks, music blasting in the background, and the giant bow on top. That's not what Bojack Horseman is, and I now realize that the later seasons of Bojack probably mean as much to other people as season 3 does to me.
Hey, who left this bowl of onions here?
So it's really a matter of taste. Weird fact, I didn't originally like the ending of Better Call Saul. It was more subdued than I expected. Like I said, I love the music playing in the background. I love the symbolism, the emotions, the end of an era. I expected the world to shift into color once more for Jimmy McGill. I wanted the theme song to be playing in the background, for Jimmy to have a tear in his eye, but that wasn't the case, and I felt a little bitter about it for 5 seconds when I didn't get exactly what I wanted. But I eventually realized that would have taken away from Jimmy McGill's story. It didn't fit what the show was trying to do. That story didn't need such a grand conclusion. It would have romanticized everything that happened and what Saul had become. His world is in black and white forever now because of the choices that he made. There isn't going back now. Sometimes a person can't fix what has already been broken. A million tiny bad choices add up to crumble the foundations of someone's life.
Would you get out of here?
In a lot of ways, I think that Bojack's ending is perfect for the story that they were trying to tell. We, as the audience, love both Bojack and Jimmy McGill for a wide range of issues. They're funny, charismatic, surprisingly thoughtful, and have numerous hardships in their lives. But they're not the best people. They make terrible choices. So I suppose wanting everything to have a clean ending is too much to ask for. Of course, Bojack didn't exactly commit the same level of illegal acts as Saul Goodman. But I did kind of hope that going into season 4 of Bojack that he would turn around a bit, show that being away from Hollywood was good for him, have him live a minimalistic lifestyle, spending his days running, thinking, and reading. The writers did show that LA wasn't good for many people, but I suppose that Bojack's issues run far deeper than that. A change in environment wouldn't fix everything, but a man can dream.
Oh, a man can dream, though. A man can dream.
So maybe I just need to rewatch the entire series with a new lens. Maybe I'll appreciate it more. It's hard to throw away preconceptions though. Sometimes a story just comes out at a bad time in our lives. We can't fully appreciate it because of the mindset that we were in at the time. I wanted something which would show hope and people improving to be the best possible versions of themselves. But voicing all of this now, I realized that I was expecting Bojack Horseman to be something that it was never going to be. And that's wrong. I learned a long time ago from Bojack Horseman that a person shouldn't conform to the expectations of others when it makes them miserable. And stories shouldn't conform either. The creators have a right to finish the tales that they want to, how they want to, and when they want to. It doesn't matter if other people don't like it. They need to be true to themselves. So just because the second half of Bojack Horseman isn't for me, it is for a lot of other people. And I hope that those other people were as positively influenced by the second half of Bojack Horseman as I was by season 3. But what do you think? Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your perspectives. And thank you so much for watching. If you like my takes on storytelling, please consider reading my books, Above Heaven and Dance of Frozen Death, links in the description. I hope that you will check them both out. I appreciate you. Do not despair.